And we are live.
What it do? What it do? What it do? Y'all already know it's your boy Sixxcess. What up, Jezabel?
Nothing much. What is going on? Happy New Year, everybody.
Oh, no doubt. Happy New Year.
We got
Yeah,
my boy Sir Charles.
my man, what's going on? What's going on?
Let me tell y'all what thing. Sir Charles, I guess in a way, Sir Charles is the guy who put me on.
Oh.
I want to hear the story.
So beforehand, I was really trying to get my own concert put together and like my own show. And I was doing a lot of showcases and open mics and things like that. And so Charles comes to me and he says, I want to feature you at one of my Wordplay Wednesdays.
Ooh.
I remember
Now, Sir Charles doesn't know this, but that was literally my first concert as a featured artist.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
eye opener for me.
Look, man, but that means that you already had it made in the shade because no one would have known unless you would have shared that. Your presence, your stage presence, actually, and the way you present it and introduce your style to the world seemed like it was really pretty much on point to be where it's gotten. And now you have superseded that. So kudos to you for just being, who you are.
Man, listen, man. Thank you. I also remember my first movie that I was in.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that movie, Sir Charles? Did you put me in that movie?
Oh yeah. I totally forgot about that joint. Oh yeah.
Yes, it did. My first and only movie, y'all. I had some lines. My first movie and last movie, but no shots. I was doing my thing, and Sir Charles made that happen for your boy. Now, Sir Charles, let's talk about you for a second, though.
Okay.
Because you do a lot. You've done a lot. Like when we talk about pioneers in the city and people who don't get enough respect, Sir Charles is one of those people. So for everyone that don't know who Sir Charles is, Sir Charles, introduce yourself. Tell them, who you are, what you've been doing.
Well, I'll be honest with you. First and foremost, Jezabel, Sixxcess, thank you for having me on the show, on the platform. I definitely appreciate you guys. As you may tell, I've grown up in entertainment, so to speak.
Yes.
My background has been music all my life. Everyone in my family has done either singing or playing an instrument. And it was only natural that I would, take notice and want to be involved. In fact, I remember it was funny. I remember when I told my mom, I said, Mom, I want to sing. So I'm ready for the big speech. She said, you want to sing? I said, yeah. She says, okay. That's it. And that was it.
Yeah.
So I, basically I grew up listening to people like Earth, Wind & Fire, the Jacksons, of course, Michael Jackson, and, Ohio players, all those 70s, type cats, bands and groups and singers.
Right.
And then I got a chance to be in the choir and the ensemble. Then I got a solo. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So now I see what it feels like. And I kept doing those things throughout my school years and in college. And when I got out, I got my first band on a humble. I saw some musicians and I was like, yeah, where y'all going? They was like, why? We going to rehearsal. Why you asking?
Right.
Because I sing. They was like, come on by. And it just took off from there, really. And I got an education like none other. Being from New York, I would go on casting calls. I would pick up the classifieds. People needed a singer for their song, for their demo. I mean, I just did everything until it got me to many years later. And I came back down to the DMV. And then I ran into, actually, I had shifted gears. When I came down to the DMV, I was coming down as a speaker because I've been writing books. I've written 7 books. I've been in movies with Nicolas Cage. I've been in a reality show called The Keynote. I've been in another reality show called Real Men. I've done a whole bunch of things, and it's always the same thing: creative in front of people. So
let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
Do you believe now the time in New York? How did that mold your hustle and movement and from the DMV?
I tell you, I'll be honest with you. I think DMV is a New York for its area. You know, Chicago is a New York for its area. Philly and et cetera, et cetera. And LA, of course, right? I think
Right.
those are major cities that do big things. The speed just may vary a little bit. So
Right,
coming
right.
from New York with the hustle, with the get over, with the fast talkers, you know, and all that, it just prepared me to keep my grind and to know what to look for and what to look out for. So it was really a big eye opener and really helped me do the things I needed to do, go the places I needed to go, and network in the areas I needed to network. Had I not had that experience in New York, I probably would have been like a fish out of water, not knowing how to get around and not knowing who to connect with.
Then like you do like R&B soul type music.
Right?
So did you ever have any of the transition problems that hip hop had dealing with, because New York and DC didn't really rock with each other
No doubt.
for a long time, especially on the hip hop scene. So
Right.
like as an R&B artist, was it easier to move?
Yes or no. It was in general, I would say yeah, but as I got older, it became more difficult because let's face it, the world is younger. So as I'm
Right.
getting older, people may look at me like as an old head or old cat, but they didn't know my flow until they had got to hear what I was presenting. And
Right.
when I would do a lot of cover tunes, pretty much I did a lot of cover tunes that was like real hot. People like Kim at the time, or whoever was out at the time. I would nail that version of the song that people go, oh snap, dude can sing. You
Right.
sound just like the record. And that got me saying, look, I've been doing music a long time. I need to do my own stuff.
Right.
So I ran into people like Willie Wimbush, Filthy Rich.
Yeah.
Today we call them, they say get rich. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
got one of my first projects produced with Rich as an engineer, as he was also growing and developing and doing major things. In fact,
Yeah,
on the
Rich
music side, you was in the studio with a whole bunch of other brothers getting and learning some of the ins and outs of the studio, and I was really
Yeah.
focused on speaking. But I remember back in the day, you was getting your feet wet, learning how everything worked.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah,
come
yeah,
full
yeah.
circle now. We're all back full circle, and you doing big things with your own
Yeah,
artists. I'm like, what?
yeah. Now, listen, like honestly, I remember walking in that studio for the first time, and that was like the most surreal moment of my life. Right up until that moment, I had never. A lot of people don't understand. I had never done music besides like singing in churches and stuff like that. Right. So when I naturally saw that, I was like, wow. Now, one thing I did like was the freedom that artists seem to have to me. Right. It was one thing like that the benefit of like all the managers, I seen them running around doing everything. I seen like all the producers running around trying to do everything. But the artists were the ones that seemed really free, and I wanted to understand the whole ins and out of all of the music game. Remember when I was in the house, I was just managing artists.
Right.
I was ripping and running, so writing songs for the artists, literally doing everything from helping them arrange it and everything, only to realize, they are really lazy.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes. I just had a conversation with somebody about that actually this morning about the reason why I'm usually a solopreneur is because it's like it's hard to rely on people.
Right.
Oh,
And
oh
sometimes
man,
even people that's a part of the project, it's like, yo, why you not promoting this joint like I am?
man.
Yeah.
Like the thing about like I get that. It's crazy when you cross these parallels now, right? Because on one hand, everybody is like, okay, you have to be in the music business, but then it's like, on the other hand, the music business is seemingly solely off relationships and friendships and networking ability. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like the ones that make it have the real friends
Mm-hmm.
in the industry that move them along, but yet we're also taught that there's no personal and business. So somewhere along the line, someone is teaching us we need rewiring. Like
Yeah.
all of us, all artists need rewiring.
I think one of the first things we need to know, as far as this business goes, I tell people all the time, yo, don't do it if you don't love it.
Right.
Because you're gonna waste time and you're gonna waste money. And then
Correct.
you may have an attitude, feel salty, and say, "Oh, this don't work." And maybe it won't work in the way that you imagine, but if it's a part of what you're supposed to be doing and you're passionate about it, then you'll never depart from it. It'd be hard to leave it. So don't do it if you don't love it, first and foremost. And like
Yep.
you alluded to earlier, learn as much as you can about every aspect of the business, the studio, the behind the
Yeah.
scenes, the artistry, the writing, I mean,
Yeah.
everything from copyright, social media, production, publishing. And if you don't have at least a working knowledge, you may be doing yourself a disservice. So learn as much as you
Yes.
can.
Like like honestly, it's crazy because I talk like on this show, I talk a lot about the learning process, right? But it's like I wanted to I wanted to switch gears in the new year, right? Because the end of the year, I really shifted to the Artists Are Dumb series, right?
Okay.
And that was more so like I guess if it was a yellow book, Artists for Dummies, it would have been received easier or
Okay.
it would have been seen nicer. But when I say, hey, artists are dumb because we don't understand the power of reading your contract before taking the money. Artists, you know what I'm saying? And then it was like, I had a lot of artists hit me up before the year ended. How could you say that? Why did you say that? What does that mean? And I was like, well, I mean, how do we want to go into 2022? Right? Now, you're a full blown independent artist. However, you're not just the independent artist. And that's what I want a lot of people to understand. Like, you're a full blown creator of life. You
Yeah.
create books, you
Right.
create movies, you create music. I
Yep.
mean, this is the American dream, people. This is
And
our
it's so funny that you're saying that because I remember when I started speaking, I thought, okay, I'm a motivational speaker, right?
yeah,
And
Right.
then I started doing conferences. I was a conference facilitator. And then I started coaching. So I said, well, you're not just a motivational speaker if you're doing conferences. You're a conference facilitator, you're a coach, you're an author. Okay. And then when I reshifted and started working on the artistic side of things, first thought was I'm a singer. I said, well, but if you're writing, you're a songwriter. And if you're
right,
producing, you're a producer. I
yeah,
said, hold up, hold up. We got this thing twisted. I got this thing twisted. I am a true content creator. That
yeah,
should
Right.
be the title. Don't call yourself a this or a that. Just allow what comes to you and through
yeah.
you to be who you are.
We can't box ourselves anymore.
Yep.
Like your new project is called A Just Life,
Right.
which I am blessed enough to be featured on.
Man, let me tell you,
Oh.
I was so glad the person that I really wanted to check this out, and this is no diss. The person I wanted to spit a verse is nasty, right?
Yeah, talk to me.
They
Who is it? Who is it? Talk to me.
just oh my goodness, Voodoo Faye from
Okay.
Brooklyn, right?
Yes.
Now I know him for years. He like we just said, he's a content creator. He's an artist. He's a writer. He's a rapper, right? But I
Yes.
am so grateful that he was not able to do it because if he was, I would have never had you
Yeah.
to bless it the way you did. And he hasn't heard what you've done with it, but to me, the way you blessed that track was
Yes.
the way it was supposed to be done. Not saying that he wouldn't have done good, but what happened was supposed to happen, and it
Correct. The
happened in
universe
the same
always
way.
works like that. The universe always works like that. I
Yes,
always say that. The universe is always going to make what's supposed to happen happen. Now,
did you?
I'm not gonna lie. When I first got the record, I was like, okay, I got to do this record right. I was in the studio. I rapped at least now. There's like 3 or 4 different versions of the record of how I did it, and me and my producer just kept saying, no, we got to get the vibe. Everything is about a vibe, and like now I've become like one of those vibe artists. I
Yeah,
guess I
yeah,
guess that's my new terminology. You know,
right.
I've become one of those vibe artists and whatnot.
Have you let
So
Jezabel hear it?
actually have not let Jezabel hear it.
Jezebel, I want your feedback, Jezebel.
Okay, most definitely. So the project is dropping. Could you kind of give? He got a feeling of what to expect for someone that
Actually, it's already out, isn't it? It's already out, right, Sir Charles?
Yeah, actually it is. I'm just battling now with my distributor on getting it on the platforms because I'm trying to add a song I did with my band, and they're saying like Apple don't want that on there because you got to change the metadata. So I'm trying to change the metadata because I want that other song on as a bonus track, and I've already
Right.
prepared for it. But either way, it can be picked up
My
on
man dropping a deluxe album.
Yo, exactly. So I'm like, look, it's already available on sircharlescarymusic.com. So people
Okay.
can still get it, but I'm just waiting for it to hit all markets like the other ones did, like Around the Mic with Sir Charles and Friends. This joint,
Mhm.
man, this is what I did with Rich back in the day. I don't know if y'all can see that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did that with Rich, and everybody knows
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
these CDs, man, have been all around the world, and it's like you just never know who is connected with you, who's
Mhm.
like you say, vibe, a feel, right? Who
Yep.
can
Right.
relate to your feel. So I'm expecting the
Man.
same thing from A Just Life. Now, Jezabel, you was asking me what kind of a project it was, I believe, right?
Yeah. What would one expect? Listening to this new project.
It's a good combination of you like Bruno Mars and Anderson Paak's project?
The Silk Sonic joint.
Yeah,
Some of it.
It was
some of
alright.
it.
It was alright.
Yeah, something like okay, so it
But you,
leans in that direction a little bit as far as
Okay.
music flavor.
Hmm.
The harmonies and the singing, maybe not so much, but a little old school soul with
Okay.
modern music.
Okay.
And
like you remind me of like the Marvin Gaye's, the like you said, the OJ's and stuff like that. And it's crazy because like the when you talk about, I'm talking about style and vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
sound is very soulful. You know what I'm saying? But like when you talk about like lyrical content, what I
yeah,
talk about a lot of things. If you've been seeing my Facebook, right?
right.
Do you understand? Like, do you kind of like hate the correlation, or are you a fan of the correlations that artists now have to face today more than at any time ever? Because back in the day, it wasn't really a you sound like this, sound like that, sound like that, but it's definitely like that today.
I think the game has been I won't say messed up, but it's been shifted in such a way that you just got to be true to yourself. Now, when I was younger, I wouldn't have thought that way. I would have been trying to do what's only popular. But I
Right.
think you have to be true to yourself and the market that likes your sound. Just find those people and those artists and make sure that those are the people that get a chance to hear you. I think the associations, I don't think they really care about us, to be honest with you. I think they're just there because they've always been there,
Right.
but you still got to cater to them so you can make sure your stuff is protected. But I just think you just got to be who you are, man. Because I do this, I want to get paid like everybody else. But you know what?
Yeah.
If I don't get a dime, I'm happy with the end product.
You know,
So
like what I'm learning is the veteran artists, right? Artists that have more than 3 projects out independently
right,
and like are really working. Their perspective and approach to it is definitely always like that now. Like now, I want to do what makes me feel good because I know how to make money.
Mhm.
I know how to get shows. I know how my fan base works. I know what I'm gonna make, and I'm not gonna make. Nothing matters. I'm happy as hell, right? And then like I tell a lot of the artists that beat me now because they be younger than me, like, and they like, oh man, like how can I do this? And I'm like, look, I've already gotten to that point that a lot of seasoned veterans get to, where okay, I just want to make music that makes me feel good and make the people that I listen to make me feel good. A lot of artists are still chasing fan bases.
yeah, and I think it's always great to have obviously a solid fan base and to continue to build it. But one of the good things is that if you did what we talked about earlier, like if you know your way around, you know how to work in the studio, you know how to do shows, you know how to record, you know about publishing, you know about songwriting. If you know all those nuances,
Yep.
then you should never be out of sorts. Now, you may not make as much money all the time, but you should always have an opportunity of working, even if you're writing for somebody else,
Right.
even if you're putting on the show. Because, like we said before, I'm not a speaker, right? I'm not a singer. I'm a content creator. And if you're a content creator, first and foremost, you're a business person. You're an artist second, or you're a
Yeah.
speaker second. You know, so that's how I started doing conferences. I realized I had been to so many conferences. I had been around so many coaches, so I knew what to do, and I had the credentials. So
Right.
why
Right.
can't I
Right.
do the same thing for myself, even in the arts? Why can't you put on a showcase yourself? Why can't you do that? You can. All you got to do is think,
Right.
process, find your
Right.
venue, find the artist, find whatever the nuances are, if it's going to be a pay for play or not, and then put it together and make it work.
You know, like honestly, artists, new artists, today's artists, because when all of the stories were being told, right? It's all fast stories. It's all quick YouTube, Instagram, straight up. Let me tell you about the lagoon. You know how academics be doing it and whatnot. It's straight up blog mess that makes you pop so fast. No one is ever. And I'm sorry, guys, if I'm stepping on someone's toes, but I still don't see it, and I still don't think it has happened yet. There's no one sharing the actual behind the scene work stories, right?
Right.
And a lot of these artists are not. There's no one saying, "Oh, there's only one artist. There was only 2 people there to see this artist tonight. There was only 3 people there to see this artist tonight on his first night." Or maybe this artist did this way. This way he did 3 shows a week. You know, this artist maybe was in the studio 17 hours a day. You know, like whatever stories. These stories are not in there. Just the actual come up story and how fast it happened. So
Yeah.
when these artists look at these lifestyles, they don't go back and they're not saying, "Oh, I gotta canvas every city. I gotta make sure every person knows me, or I gotta make sure that everybody in my city knows I rap." Everybody just jumping it right online right now. And
See,
honestly,
so you're on another level, man. Everybody don't see that. Like, it's funny because when I first started out doing music, you know, performing and stuff like that, doing showcases, I would just perform if there was a showcase. I didn't
right,
have the wherewithal to think about creating a showcase. And then I still only stayed local. But as I got more experience, then I started saying, okay, for instance, I'm doing a book tour. I did a
yeah,
book tour. I hit, I don't know, 5 or 6 cities, of course,
which
DC,
was
Maryland,
genius.
Virginia, New York, and several others.
I
And
remember
it's like
that.
you just go to that city and you find out where you can, you know, what venues are available. You talk about money, and then you put it together. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really as simple as that. But some people think it's too risky or they're afraid of failure. Let me ask you a question.
Yes,
You ever had a show that was a bust?
yes, yes.
That's how
Because
you learn.
let me tell you something. Actually, because like I said, you gave me my first platform where that was 2000 and maybe what 11 or 12 or something like that, and I did that concert, and I was like really on what we call a high horse, right? And that was like the first time I was a featured artist. And I'm also one of those artists that has always known how to capitalize,
Okay.
right? Now, one thing that you did for that concert, a lot of people, I want y'all to understand how this concert was structured to the T. It was promoted to the T. I walked into Starbucks and I didn't know half of these people in there, but they all knew who I was. Now, they were all sitting and ready for a show, and I'm sitting there like, my heart was racing because I didn't even know how I was going to entertain all these people, right?
Right.
The show went on, the show was great. And I immediately, a couple of days later, you had the video out of the whole concert.
Right.
And I immediately started sharing it around to everybody that I knew. And then a light bulb went off in my head. Shared this to some club owners. Well, I got Red Lounge was the first club that took a shot on me. They said, "Hey,
Oh, yeah.
do the show here."
Right.
And I literally walked in there thinking, and not remembering, like, and I want a lot of artists to understand in this story you're about to hear, jump. I remember walking there thinking I was everything because of this show that Sir Charles had put together for me. Because of this spread, they some people say, "What is a nice meal? It's a nice spread." You walk in there, and the show was a bust. Literally, no one was in there, not one person. And I was like, "What is happening?" You know. So one thing that I understood now that I didn't understand then is promotion is everything.
Oh yeah.
And we are like in a time where people want to see you, they
Yeah.
just have to know where to see you at.
Right.
And you have to be like what they call it. What my first show taught me as a bus, because after the show, literally no one came in, not one person, but the owner and the promoter who booked me for the show. Then he came to me and said, "We'll go get him again next week." And I said, "Word."
Word.
You know? So like and like honestly, the next week one person showed up, you know, and we kept it going because we said, well, if one person showed up next week, maybe it'll be two, you know, and a month later the place was packed.
See?
You know.
And
So
see, the thing is, people don't realize you have to have those failed experiences so that you know what to do or what not to do the next time.
Yeah. And like honestly, and another thing, like what y'all really gotta understand is like the failed experiences, what they really teach you. You gotta ask yourself those questions, right? Because like what did I really learn? I learned that by myself, you can move as selfish as you want, but by yourself, it's not how it's ever supposed to be.
Right.
See, the thing is, so Charles was working his angle, and I was sure enough promoting the fact that I was going to be performing at this. This was going to be my event featured, and I was promoting that to the core. However, so Charles made it all come together doing his parts as well, which made it way more major because fans don't like to do. Fans don't care if you do things by yourself because they expect you to, and most of our fans, when we don't understand how to get fans, is our friends and family.
Yeah, true that.
So I mean,
that's the first line.
Yeah. Well, so look, it's like this. You can't. If I work at McDonald's, I'm not going to ask my friend to come up to my job and chill with me all day while I'm there for 8 hours.
Right.
So I reckon that's how he would look at it when I say, "Come to my show, come chill with me for 8 hours."
So you slide him a small order of fries and the soda and say, "Yo, man, this ain't up for a little while."
Yeah, look, they may come. They're gonna definitely come up there and get the free meal, but that's gonna still cost them. Your job is to impress the people that McDonald's already want, that they already have gotten. And now, as artists, we got to ask ourselves, how does that translate over? How does the hustle of the business translate over?
True that.
Well, we're not catering to our friends and our family anymore. Like, I mean, you went on a tour. You said 5 cities, 6 cities.
Yeah.
Now, that's crazy when y'all start thinking about it. Like, this is what we are in the era now where we're in. We can put together our own tours. We have to start asking ourselves, hey, what am I gonna get out of this? What do I expect to reap out of this? How do I make all of these things beneficial? We start asking ourselves all the questions like the big businesses ask themselves. Half of the artists right now asked them how to write a book. I couldn't tell y'all how to write a book, but Sir Charles could.
And that's one of the lessons and one of the reasons, or one of the ways that I learned how to begin to teach that class. For example, every experience that I have, once I learn it and I know that it's done right, on my contacts, all the content that's needed, whatever it is, I make sure it's on lock. Once you learn something, you can always duplicate it. And if you can duplicate it right, you get results. And if you get results, you can keep doing that same thing. So, I think that's tremendous. But I wanted to say that, wanted to give props to, everyone that was a part of the project. Yourself, of course, Willie Wimbush, definitely, because he got a track there that I'm doing something with. It's called Who Can Make It Better. And then that track, I got plans for that track later in the year. Going to do something else with that same track. with a guest vocalist. I can't say who it is right now because we haven't recorded it yet, but we're in talks on making that happen.
Okay.
But Greg Birch from New York, one of my old writing partners, Carl T. Smith, who used to be the the on the road music director for the New Edition, Latoya Mason, who's my fiance's niece, and I believe that caps it as far as the collaborators and the performers. Now, I know a lot of you guys may or may not know him, but one of my best friends from way back when we was like kids, Paul Lawrence, who wrote for Evelyn Champagne King, Melba Moore, Freddie Jackson. Well, he was able to take one of my tracks and just put the mix on it. The song is called "In the Morning," and
yeah. I shared that video on my page.
Yeah, that joint is hidden right. And he was like, "Yo, man, you got to come out strong." So I'm grateful for him, first and foremost, of being a friend, and just seeing where I'm going and taking his time to help me, put this project out together the right way. So, all props to everyone that was a part of the project, and even the actors that were in the videos. I mean, I did the 3 videos.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is this the biggest rollout for an album that you've done?
I think so, because it's like everything I learned, like the first one, this is crazy. On Around the Mic, right?
Yes.
I had 17 tracks, 4 tracks of bonus tracks. Like I had Miss Chris, I had Tara, I had my man Sam Holla, I had Mastermind, right? And I had a bunch of people, Rich, right? It was a great experience.
Yes.
So then I chilled for a few years, and then
now, are those your eyes on that cover?
Right here?
Yes.
These are my youthful eyes.
Hey, now I thought it was Trey Songz for a second.
A word?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I was like, I gotta make sure that that's not Trey Songz. That's one of those nice old R&B covers right there.
Look, he's catching too much negative press right now. I'm glad it wasn't him.
Yeah, I'm about to say. That's why I had to ask. I'm like, hey, you gotta take Trey Songz off that cover, man.
No doubt.
But nah, them your eyes. So them R&B eyes.
There you go. Look, I had a flat top and everything, man. But I did a couple of videos, but I was early in the video game at that time, so I really didn't do well. And then when I did this one, everybody knows I was getting a little bit better, and I finally had met my director of photography, T.O. Smoot. In fact, I give him props too, because T.O. Smoot did the video for Everybody Knows, and he did the video for In the Morning, and he did the video for what's this other joint? Let Me Show You.
Okay.
Yeah, and so this project, Adjust Life, is the biggest rollout with videos, promotion, all the announcements and everything. And I mean, like, look, at this age and at this stage, if I ain't gonna do it right, I don't need to do it at all.
Facts. You know what? Speaking of videos, right? I'm gonna take you back. 2K.
I love that track.
Man, I remember you called me. You said, I got the video. I did. Let's do it. We did the video. The video dropped.
No doubt.
And that ended up. I remember after that video dropped, my project was already on Dat Piff. Shout out Dat Piff anyway. Ended up going up to like 10,000 downloads, over 10,000 downloads, over like 80,000 views and stuff like that. 800,000 views. So it was like, what the craziness is going on, right? You did crazy massive on that video, bringing that visual to life. That was actually my second video at the time. So okay. I'm like, you really pioneered a lot of stuff when it comes to starting off success. When you really think about it,
man, you know what? And I didn't even think about it, but I think when you have relationship with people and you coming from a genuine place, you go all in, and it's not that you say, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. No, you don't think that way. You just do it, and it manifests itself because it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And only thing I wish, and the only regrets I have, is that I wish the game people 2K would have caught wind of that track, because I think your song would have been on one of their game tracks.
Yeah, it was crazy because that was back in the time where I was really trying to tell my story, and I think that record, a lot of people didn't understand the lyrics in that song was really like the time I really was in the military and really got out a couple of weeks before, 9/11, and
Yeah.
it was all stuff that I didn't want to do but had to do it, like
Right.
didn't nobody wanted to be in the military at 18. Not me rather, but it happened, having a kid. So life happens. I was actually talking about that earlier, my time in the military, my good 15 days. You ever did the military service like that?
Man, no sir. I was one of those people that didn't want nobody telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Too stubborn, too hard headed, and then all my family's in the military. I'm like, I already got military upbringing. I ain't doing that.
So hence what takes me back to my initial statement. Artists are so free. I grew so envious of artists in 2006 and 2007. I was like, I gotta do this. I remember walking into Sony and saying, look, I write for all these artists I want to deal. I want to write. I want to put out my own music. And I remember them looking at me and laughing. Now, it obviously wasn't because of the music, right? It was obviously my look. My look.
Okay.
They hated my look at that time.
Okay.
And I didn't understand the ins and outs now, but it's definitely has changed a lot since I walked in that Sony office and said, give me a deal or I won't write for another artist, right? And they laughed at me and I walked out and I literally released all the music that I was writing for them. I put it on a mixtape and dropped it and just said, now you'll get nothing.
Now, my question is, do you think that's a pressure that just is applied to like hip hop or rappers, or do you think R&B artists go through the same thing?
I think they go through the same thing. Honestly, I think they go through the same thing. And the bad thing about R&B is that if you, depending on how hungry or thirsty you are, and also depending on what your moral compass is, if you don't comply, you just won't exist, because that casting couch thing is real, and it's real in so many ways. They make false promises, and you do what they say, and then when it comes time for you to cash in on the promise, they look at you like, man, look, we're working on somebody else right now, or yeah, we got you, we just got to do one more project and then we can do that. I'm like, and it's like it's just really a shame, but that's what it is. That's what it is.
Because it leaves you questioning your everything. Questioning one's appearance is the worst thing you can question. I'm learning in today's world.
Yeah.
Right. It's like that's worse than questioning someone's mind state. Now, like I'd rather someone to assume I'm crazy than to assume I can't look the part nowadays.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the appearance thing, though, I think depending on if you're an artist, I don't think it should matter that much. Even if you're a producer, in some ways that shouldn't matter, because most producers are solely behind the scenes.
Correct.
So they shouldn't have to worry about that. Writers, producers, that shouldn't matter. But
it don't matter for the writers or producers. You can look like shit.
Right.
You can dress like shit as a producer, as a songwriter. It does not matter as long as you produce hits.
Yep. Look at Rodney Jerkins. Now he's not the quote unquote.
Whoa! Shots.
No, dude is awesome. I'm just saying. He's not the kind of guy that people will look out and be like, oh wow, he's an attractive guy. This and that. Not to say that beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But my point is,
no, that's cool. It's cool. People know they're ugly.
But if he was
an artist, it's 2022. We got it.
Look, if he was an artist, I don't know if you know who Christopher Cross is.
Nope.
Sailing takes me away places.
Oh.
Right, the original artist. That's the original artist. This white dude, heavyset white dude. He didn't look like a idol or nothing, but he sat there with his guitar on a chair and he sang the song and was a platinum Grammy. Right,
man.
So I'm just saying, looks should not make a difference, but
they do.
It should, but
honestly, I totally understand it from an artist standpoint, right? Because and like I get now why it's changing to where it's not really mattering now, because it's all about the show that you can give 24/7.
Well, I'll be to your ass.
Well, like listen, Hey, look, like the crazy thing is, Me Too is the scariest thing, right? You can't even say nothing about a person's body no more. Like,
Right.
but the,
Nobody's shaming.
but the crazy part is like they don't say it's not said, but it's seen in endorsements, it's seen in sponsorship,
Yes, sir.
it's seen in the big time stage, the most time on the stage. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
indeed.
we get it now, right? We totally get it. I mean, J. Cole has totally like obliviated the idea of okay, I gotta look this way to stay on top of the game. But I mean, let's just be real. He's doing a lot of J. Cole things, right?
Yeah.
It's not like all these big venues are saying J. Cole is coming out. They're booking the Migos.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're booking the ones that make us want to go buy chains and
Yeah.
buy big cars because
Yeah.
it's all sponsorship and it's all endorsements, right?
Right.
And simply, I guess what America is telling us, real people don't buy nice things. What the fuck? I mean, right? You can't be a 320-pound man and driving a Lamborghini. It's just they didn't sell it for you. They're not pitching it
Right.
to you, right?
That's like the Tommy Hilfiger story. They didn't make their stuff for us, you know?
Yeah, Tommy Hilfiger coming out in 2020 talking about I never said that. I'm
Right.
like, wait a minute. You could have said that in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
What changed? You know?
Yeah,
I guess me too. No one can say yes you did.
exactly. Right.
And
Because then now you assaulting him or whatever. Yeah, I
yeah.
got you.
Well, I totally get the premise on we gotta look the part now. You know
But
what
I
I'm
think
saying?
it's important if we could do it to learn to diversify, or at least have that in the back of our minds that okay, I may be an artist, but I want to write for other people at some point. I may not have a clothing line, but if I could put something out that is catchy, let me have that on the back burner so that when I'm not doing shows, I can push that item or those
Now
widgets, whatever it may be.
now let's touch something real crazy, y'all. These new artists today, these new artists like 2019, 2018 and up,
Right?
they ain't on that level to be songwriters.
I hear that.
What do you mean?
I mean, look, let's just be real, y'all. Like songwriters' jobs is one of y'all don't. Songwriters' jobs are actually harder than the artist's job to sell the record, right? Because the record has to be written that is sellable and
it got to
believable.
be matched with the right artist, the
It
right
got
type
to
of
be
artist.
matched with the right type of artist, and like a lot, like look at the records that Whitney Houston had to give back when she passed away to Celine Dion. Celine Dion was happy as hell to get those records back. You know what I'm saying?
What songs like? What do you mean, like songs she didn't record or did record?
The songs that she wrote that Whitney
Oh.
that Whitney recorded. You know, because
Okay.
Whitney owned them as long as she was alive.
Wow.
Um,
See, now you open up another can of worms because now I'm starting to look at Homeboy with a side eye. What's his name? What's this thing? What's the executive name? You know what I'm talking about. Maybe we shouldn't even say it on
which one? No. I know you're talking about.
Yeah. I can't think of his name. Not the black Godfather, the white dude.
Oh, the white guy.
Yeah. I can't think of his name. But
With a record label, right?
Yeah. He used to own Arista and a bunch of other labels. He's always been at the top, a top executive.
Yeah.
He was there with Whitney. He helped Whitney.
I know who you're talking about.
And Dionne Warwick, and yeah. But anyway,
Jezabel, pull up their producer, I guess.
Yeah.
No,
He's a label owner. But
yeah,
he makes artists by
Clive Davis. That's his name. Never mind. I'm on it.
So that makes me look at Clive like, and I hate to say it but it's real. You have, how would you say, you have matured or you've nurtured all these artists to be number one platinum worldwide, world renowned artists, and then you make a lot of money, and then when they die, you make even more money.
Yeah. I mean, and like but that's proof that the look is what sells always.
Right, but I'm looking at the other side. I'm looking at the side of how messed up that is, that you have a hand in their demise as well as their rise. Their rise and their demise. That could be a new track. Your
Nah,
rise and your demise.
that sounds like a new track to me. But like that's interesting because did you see TDE Punchline posted how much of the label should have in an artist's personal life?
I
How
think it depends on how young they are
Well,
or mature they are.
well, like I honestly like I look at I look at everything on the other side now. Like this is a business, right? That's still like just a 14-year-old getting a job. Who was in charge of your personal life beforehand?
Supposedly his parents, supposedly.
So they have to be still in charge. They still have to raise their child and nurture their child and understand their child and things like that of the things that says to me. I mean, like it's crazy because I'm not going to attack anybody's abuse of their choice to get their music together, right?
No doubt.
And what's crazy is now abuse and mental abuse is starting to become a huge topic in the music industry, and a lot of people are like stepping up and addressing it. I guess because all of these main artists, these great artists, are passing away, mental health and overdosing on drugs and things like that. So now we in a whole nother era where we're looking at the rise and the demise and who's creating these artists. Well, the only thing that they're creating is financial change in these people's lives. Access in today's world, we cannot question access anymore.
Right.
Everybody
got it.
I mean, even the poor kid can get some Mollies or some pills and whatever he wants. And like these things are not like one of the artists, Polo G, said. We're just now enhanced because we can get it now. We don't have to think about how we're going to get it anymore.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because a lot of times people's artistry doesn't mature because they're caught up in the wrong aspect of how they live in, and how they live in is obviously foul, or it's divided because if you intoxicated and you can't write or can't perform. Like, for instance, did you see the verses with Stephanie Mills and Shaka Khan?
I did. It was one of the most iconic verses that I've ever seen, with a person just really showing they just should not be out there anymore.
And I felt like, I know people that's been in the business, from the R&B side for a long time.
Yeah.
And they was like, because see, Shaka has supposedly gotten clean, and when Prince died, she went in rehab. So I hadn't heard nothing from Chaka in a while. Now I seen her twice at Wolf Trap, one as a headliner and one as a backup. She opened up for Kool and she opened up, and she opened up for Kool and the Gang, and then she was a headliner one time. So when she went to rehab, and I hadn't heard from her, and I hear about the verses, I'm like, okay, this should be good. I hope she's all right. And some of my friends seem to think that she probably got the treatment that she hasn't gotten in a long time, meaning you in the green room, they got the fruit basket, all the liquor you want, and maybe some other treats. And she was like, oh, word? Just like it used to be back in the day. And she had at it. By the time it's showtime, she twisted sister.
Yeah.
Because I was like, damn, Chaka. But you know what? She could probably still sing all them chicks under the table.
I mean, like the sad thing about it is, I look at verses. A lot of people hate me for the way I talk about verses, but verses is nothing but an old people heat check, y'all. It's like a pause check, and I ain't gonna talk too cynical about it, but it's a heat check, right? And we all see what happens. The artists that do well on it, their streams, their numbers go up, they start getting more gigs. The artists that do bad on it, they become social media's memes and punchlines.
That's real.
So we know how this game is working now, because what do all of the old artists want? A piece of the young man pie, right? Because honestly, well, let's just say if it was like 100,000 that they got to split back in the day, which was like everybody just getting the crumbs from the music industry because no one was business owners. Now we got all of these old artists out like this. I own my masters now. I'm ready. I'm happy. They said words like I own my masters, and they said words like go stream my music, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like They don't even understand that that's not how we talk anymore.
Right.
You know, it's just out. We say it's out. You know, run it up. We
And
say
you,
run
you
it
got
up.
you got to look for a deal, and don't be like Tina lowballing yourself, because Tina lowballed herself. She sold
Which
her
one,
master.
Turner?
Tina
Yeah.
Turner, 50
I mean,
mil,
I mean,
50
like
mil.
honestly, like now this is what's crazy, right? I tell every artist that lowballs themselves, that is an artist that got it, that gets it. You know what I'm saying?
In
Because
what way?
in this way, when you get to a point, and like you said, you want to make music when you're happy, right? You want to be free to do what you want to do. And sometimes, as long as these labels and you, as long as you own your masters and stuff like that, they won't work with you anymore. They're done because they can't get any piece of the puzzle.
Oh
So
yeah,
now you can't create anything new. If you used to bringing in fans of the millions, you can't handle seeing a 30,000 release, a 30,000 units release,
right.
right? You like you can't handle it. And the thing that most artists have to understand is that same thing that I understood when I tried to do my own showcase after my concert with you, right? We are powerful together.
Right.
Alone, this is who you are.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta accept it and
Strength in numbers.
realize what I said about the artists in the beginning. They're so lazy that when you become a check artist, like a paid artist, you get this sense of entitlement. I mean, and that's why the labels don't really make you rich anymore because
Right.
they don't like the artist walking into the joint like, "Hey, where's my fruit, bitch? I don't want to sing until my fruit is here and my PlayStation."
I need my
Now,
water at 30
yeah,
degrees.
now there's all artists that's willing to take that 30 million up front so we can own your masters and you can work when we say work because in your mind you owe us 30 million and you're gonna work for it. And you ask for that one thing now when you proving that you can write hits, you ask for one thing, creative control. Once they give you that, they're like, hey, go ahead.
But see, the problem is a lot of artists. This goes back down. This is the humane part of it. A lot of artists are like people in any other industry. Some people have to be told what to do. You got a
Oh,
show here, you got a show there, and all they
yes,
can do as an artist is perform their show. They didn't write the song, they didn't make the arrangement. They may or may not have an agent. They may or may not have a manager. So they're just used to doing what they're told, like on a regular job. You go
yes.
here and you might make X amount of dollars.
Yes,
And that's
because just like the burgers, if you sign with Universal Artists, I mean, Universal is happy with your fans, however 10,000 they may be. But once that announcement gets made, you're now becoming a service to the Universal fan base.
right.
And they want to make sure that you can serve them burgers that you were serving your own people.
Right.
I mean, listen, if you a mom and pop store, like all of the great franchises started off as mom and pops, started off as two people's idea or one person's idea and another person's sacrifice to deal with that idea.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it happens. And then somebody says, you know what? We believe in your idea. Here's the bag. Let's make it happen.
And you
That's
said an
usually
important
it.
word, man. You said a very important word, which we probably need to hear more and people need to understand more. And that word is sacrifice.
Well,
Sometimes people don't know what that is or how to do that. They think I'm supposed to get, and that's not sacrifice.
it's people that
Sacrifice,
still think sacrifice is killing off your cousin or your auntie or
yeah,
somebody.
yeah. Unfortunately,
You know, I told somebody, I said, trust me, brother, if that is a sacrifice that you have to make, it's a long list of things that you're going to have to sacrifice well before you got to get to shoot your mom in the head. Trust and
Yeah.
believe me. So if you ain't making those sacrifices, you ain't never got to worry about that sacrifice if there
yeah.
is ever one. I don't believe it to be true. But at the end of the day, like time, money, and yourself is biggest sacrifice that anybody can ever ask you to make.
Hey, let me just say something else about the new project. In addition to your smooth, R&B or soul tracks similar to a Silk Sonic. There are also a couple of tracks that I think that are kind of like, I guess social conscious is kind of a good
Yes.
word. Like
Uh-huh.
even the title track, "A Just Life."
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The track is about my brother, my literal brother, who I haven't seen in God knows over 40 years, and the fact that his spirit still resides within me, and
Yeah.
that I feel like his presence is with me on a day-to-day basis. And there has not been a day that I don't think about my brother in some shape, form, or fashion, either when he was older, when we was kids, et cetera, et cetera. And then the track "Who Can Make It Better," which Willie Wimbush, we wrote that together, and that turned into a almost, it's not really gospel, but a real inspirational track.
Mhm.
When I pray at night, I hold my head up high, I look above for my gift, yes, heavenly love. Who can make it better? What I mean, it's really, it just hits home with what's going on in the world today. And like I
Yeah.
say, that track in particular, I have plans on doing that with a very notable person that a lot of people know, but I can't speak to it until we actually get in there and record it. So I'm excited about the
Like
possibilities of flipping that.
when you look at your lyrics, do your lyrics scare you sometimes?
Yeah, yeah, because I look back and go, oh snap, I was must have been in the zone. Yeah,
I look at now lyric correlation to life right now, right? And have you looked at one of your songs from back in the day and said, "Wait a minute, I wrote about this and it's happening like this moment, like this,
yes sir, yes
like
sir.
those be some of the moments." So like I tested my theories on a couple of songs and I tried to run some songs. I wrote some things into some songs and tried to make them come true, and it actually works out that way. You
I
know?
find the best way to write, man, and I don't mean process, but the best time to write a song is when the universe is one with your spirit, your soul, because it comes natural. Now, if you have to write in a time frame that's not convenient, then the best thing you can do is just sit still and let the words just come to you, as best as possible.
Now, like I want to now. A lot, like I said, artists are no longer in process mode. They just hit the studio, drop it on United Masters, and then they're expected to be a rap star overnight. Seemingly, a lot of rappers are blowing up overnight.
Right.
And the one word that seems to be popping up a lot now is budget.
Mm. Yes.
I tell you, that's one thing I'm grateful, man. Whether I was speaking, doing a conference, or music, I love to have sponsorship, but I'm grateful for the fact that I was always able to literally executive produce all my own stuff.
Mhm.
So that whatever came back, it all came back to me.
Yeah,
And I also was able to use as a business write-offs or whatever else I needed, versus relying on somebody to come through and all that.
yeah.
Everything I've done, I produce myself. Out of pocket, I don't mind.
Right. Right. Now that's actually genius. Like, are you an ASCAP or BMI?
BMI.
Do you like BMI?
I used to be with ASCAP. I was an associate member of ASCAP a long time ago. And then I said, you know what? Again, one of my good friends, and he's been writing for everybody, gold, platinum. And this thing about good friends, if your friend is a real friend,
Yeah.
they won't try to manipulate you to put them on. So he and I talked, and I looked at BMI because I'd already been with ASCAP, and I really had not reaped the rewards. So I said, let me give BMI a shot, and that's where my publishing is connected with also.
Okay. Okay. And that, so obviously, yeah, you're definitely doing it, winning.
Yeah,
Winning
because
season.
you got writing credits on it for what you did.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
and that's another thing. A lot of people say, "Yo, man, can you spit a verse?" And they go ahead and put the song out, and they'll say, "Yeah, featuring Sixxcess." But what about on the paperwork? Is Sixxcess name on the paperwork for what he did? I
yeah,
do that. I can't
yeah.
say what
Yeah.
everybody else does, but I do that.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that because those I be saying those BMI checks, they definitely go to my publishing administration, and I be like,
Yep.
Nice, nice. I mean, it's funny because sometimes I be working with artists, and I always ask like BMI, ASCAP, whoever they with, right? And I always can tell which artists are on their business because I can see whatever that is happening on my ASCAP or BMI. Well, on my ASCAP side, I can see what they're doing
Right.
and how they're moving shows and things like that. And I'm like, wow, this artist is really kicking butt out here, you know? And then I'm sitting there like looking at some artists, I'm like, damn, this artist is doing nothing. Like, how in the world are we in a world where you could be content with doing nothing? It's
And they're
taking me
passionate
away.
about it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, like honestly, I still see artists chasing the streams, and every time I see an artist chasing streams, I always ask myself, "What are you here for?" You know, I mean, I don't even see artists doing shows anymore, and I see a lot of showcases and open mics, and those are great. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I'm not saying a lot of artists take their own chances and say, "Hey, this is my moment. Let me canvas. Let me campaign."
Right.
I don't even think artists know how to campaign.
Man,
They
when I
might
was on a
have
reality show, I was on a reality show called The Keynote, right? It was about, they took 9 of us, speakers, trainers, authors, and coaches. They put
Okay.
us in a mansion in Tampa, Florida, and every day it was a different challenge, right? So you never knew what you was going to wake up to. You may go to a school one day, you may go to a Toastmasters one day, you may have to put an event together one day. And those are some of the different things they just threw on us. We never knew. But the point was, at the end of the show, there's only going to be one winner. Regardless of who won the show, I was always promoting the fact that I was on this show because, as you know, in your business and in my business, most people that we know aren't in our business, or
Right.
most people that we know don't do the things that we have done.
Correct.
And other speakers, I know a lot of speakers, but they had never been on a reality show. They had never been in a motion picture. They had never recorded in music. They have never done the things I've done. So it was my job to take all my experiences and say, bam, this is what I'm about. What's up? Check out this latest book endorsed by Dr. Willie Jolly. Check out this by such and such and such and such from the reality show, la 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 la. You got to promote yourself. You got to push
Yeah.
yourself up. Even if it's, I didn't produce the show, I was a cast member, but I'm
Right.
promoting myself like it was my show.
Right.
You are the show. Just like when I talked about the cities that did my tour. Perception is everything.
Oh,
Sometimes I was
yeah.
invited in different cities and I turned that into a tour. My segment became part of my tour.
Yeah.
You got
Jim.
to know how to twist it and flip it.
Yep. Jim. And like so, I'm going on tour in February. Actually,
Okay.
I have
Okay.
I have a few big cities lined up already, and I have some states lined up. You know,
Nice.
so we're gonna be doing some traveling. It's gonna
Right,
go from
right.
February
You're
through
going to be doing
April.
some traveling. You always traveling. We talking about.
Yeah, now like you know what, like honestly, like the travel that I usually do now is spot traveling. That's what everybody asks me. Like I do a lot of spot traveling. Like I may stay in one city for like 3 weeks before I'm flying out to another city. It'll be like a month or something before I fly out to another city. I may fly every month,
Right.
but as far as working, like
Okay.
now I'm trying to get to the point where okay, I've learned now working to blend in and to get known is different from working to get heard.
I
right.
hear that too.
You know, and I learned that walking that fine line is a gift and a curse because sometimes you get stuck in the friend zone, or most of the times you get stuck in the perception zone.
Right, right. People don't know what you're really about, and they put a label on you, and you got to live with that label, not even knowing that there's a label on you.
Not even knowing that there's a label on you. And I realized that from doing this show here, Boss Place, there's a gift and a curse, right?
Right.
Well, label execs believe that I have it all together. I mean, of course, why wouldn't they think that I have it all together? I make my own money off my own publisher. I make my own money off all the 253 songs I have written.
What's wrong with that?
Well, you know what's wrong with that. Labels don't like when
They
see
can't
what I
get a big PC of your plate.
yes, and I literally asked the label that wanted my catalog, and it's a big label. You know, shout them out. I wouldn't do that, but they wanted a big piece of my catalog, and I asked them. I said, "Well, if I wrote these in under a 3 year span, surely I could get you your own 253 records that are yours. Why do you want my own catalog? You know?" And of course, that was young. That was me, young thinking back in the day. And now older me still thinks, well, what is this 253 songs worth, right? And now I know what it's worth because what I wasn't doing 10 years ago, I'm doing now. You right? Own my own publishing. You right? Taking care of my own registrations and making sure my shows are straight. No longer really like, whereas though I used to like say, okay, hand these into the label and expect the label to take care of the paperwork and make sure I get paid. Well, now, no, no, no. If I hand a song to the label, you best believe before release date, I've already registered on my side. You know, I'm already good to go. So they can
Right.
go ahead and release away. You know,
Right.
so when I look at all that stuff now, I'm like, dang, you know, like they look at it, and the perception of it is you're untouchable. You know, the perception is you're too expensive, right?
Mhm.
So
Or look, you think you're making money. We could really make money for you, but you know what? You'll never make the money that you could work if you would work with us. You know, that kind
listen,
of
look, like yeah, like you know what I'm saying, like that perception is they're all too. They, you're never big enough without them, you
right,
know. And I
right.
realize, and we all realize that, like I said, this is like a job now, right? We have to ask ourselves. This is no longer about you saying I want a record deal or I don't want a record deal, people, right? It's bigger than that now because we've all acknowledged, okay, if you want to make mega millions, you're going to need a record deal, right? But now, like we said, this is like a job. So now it's like, what uniform do you want to put on?
Right, right,
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to put on a FedEx uniform, which is like universal?
right.
Do you want to put on a suit and tie, maybe, which is like an Atlantic, you know, and walk to the government, maybe, you know, like how we can correlate these situations? What job do you want?
But you
Right?
know what would be nice though, with the whole Master P approach, if there were other people like yourself, maybe one or two others that you could trust. See, it's one thing to know that people doing what you do, but can you trust them? If you
Uh,
can work with people you can trust and take your independent model and you double it or triple it and let it stay there. It don't need to be too big,
yeah,
but it be exponent. It'll have exponential growth because you got these two other trusted, which is key, advisors. Now
yeah.
you can double down or triple down and really start to cut into their market share.
Yes, because that is the main thing that all artists will never understand until they take time and sit down and look at their analytical data
Right.
and
Right.
realize what you really up against.
Yep.
Because like I told y'all, Drake is the number one, or well, he was the number one artist on the platform of Spotify,
Okay.
all the while only having 2% of the platform.
Wow. That's a lot of more territory available.
What?
I know it sounds crazy.
It sounds mega crazy. But when you think about it like that, you're like, wait a minute, 2% can get me this. Well, let me give y'all another crazy number that a lot of you artists was not hip to. And definitely, I'm shocked. But if you were to sell 500 units, and that's 500 albums, you'd be Billboard eligible in your
Wow.
first week. If you can sell 500 albums in your first week, you're Billboard eligible, and you all didn't even know that. Or since we all in the streaming era, let's say 2 million streams in the first week, you are Billboard eligible.
I didn't know that.
Of course, right? Because let me tell you what will happen if you knew a goal number to reach, then a person that's smart and savvy like yourself will be reaching that goal all the time.
That's right. And they don't
The
want you to know that.
industry makes this seem unattainable. I mean, they don't even tell you if a person is ranked 99 or 100 on the Billboard. They don't. They're not sitting back and saying this person isn't ranked 100 on the billboards. He sold 200 units. Right? It's like, wait a minute. You got to go
Right.
back
They
and deep
leave they
in
leave the
detail.
big they leave the big words, the big impression out there, but they don't tell you the actual numbers, so you don't know the details.
Right. Because these details are made for the labels to control us.
Right.
Right? It's like if the label knows these things, because how would little old Success know it, right? The
Right.
labels know these things. So if they know these things, if they got to impress their smallest artists, those are the numbers that they reach.
Right.
If they need to impress their biggest artists, they know what to reach as well. They also have to know what goals and what target. There's numbers that people in radio can see that the real eye can never see. There's people in just like, of course, it's people in movies and things like that can see how many movies really was watched. You know,
You see what you call it did, what's her name? Black Widow did. She sued the heck out of Disney. He's like, hold up, how y'all gonna play the movie in the theater and streaming at the same time? That was not the agreement. She sued Disney.
man. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you
Oh
one thing that.
wow.
Let me tell you one thing that blew my mind. Right, I was watching Amazon one day,
Right.
and there's these numbers underneath the title beside the stars. So one day I'm looking at these numbers and I'm like, wow, okay, dang, this movie's rated this and this movie's rated that. And I'm like, oh, I finally found the number one movie on Amazon. Right?
Right.
And the wife looks at me and says, no, idiot, that's how many people watched it. I said, wait a minute. There's a movie on Amazon that one person watched, and Amazon is telling everyone this? This is
Yeah.
pretty interesting right here.
Yeah, I seen a lot of independent films up on Amazon because I almost got mine there, but because I couldn't get the my scripts right, I couldn't get my documentary up on Amazon.
Okay. So I'm gonna I definitely watched that movie. I couldn't let that thing sit there with one view.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. It was like a good 45-minute movie. But one thing I did realize is I didn't realize it was like one of those preacher infomercial where they was teaching you
Oh,
about
okay.
about kids really going through mental abuse and things like that.
Oh, okay.
At the end of it, the pastor walked on the screen and hugged the kid and started talking to the screen, and I was like, wait a minute, what did I watch? Did I just go to church? Did I just get saved? What just happened? I automatically felt like I was walked into someone's church special.
But you know what
was
you got
cool.
in your future, man? You can do some workshops. You got to structure them out. Let me know if you need help. You can do some workshops on the music business from artist perspective, writer's perspective, producer's perspective. Now, it could be an all-inclusive. You can package it up. See, I'm good with packaging.
Yeah, let's get that. Let's you know what, we need to get that up. We need
Talk
to get that.
offline about it.
Yeah, let's talk offline about that, because that's actually genius like that. That's because yeah, that's one of the avenues that would be something that's pretty good to do, right? Because artists are now at a point now we're at an all-time high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? And with every day now, artists are popping up, and they're popping up younger now. I'm saying little 8-year-old kids. And there's parents that are managers now that are hitting me up and they're asking me things like, how can we make this make sense? And
you're the Kevin Hart of hip hop. What you want them to do, man? They got to go to somebody.
Yeah, listen, look, I ain't gonna lie. If someone called me the guru and I put it in one of my songs, I was like, they made me the guru. I'm looking like who knew, you know what I'm saying? So they tuned in on like YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Downloading like who knew, you know. So we got.
Oh no, I know. I feel you.
I be like, man, we going crazy right now because, like, honestly, I took the time, and like I said, in 2017, that was an eye opener for me. A lot of people don't understand. For me, I almost quit rapping. In 2013, 2014, when I got shot, I was like, I'm done rapping. Right? I actually said these exact words. I said, I will no longer rap. I'm going to become a kingpin. That's how I felt after I got shot. Right?
Yo, fact,
Wow.
real facts. I got a friend, man. Look, this is
The vision.
crazy.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm just gonna say his name is X. He was going to school to become an attorney,
Yeah.
and back in New York, it's like every corner there's a liquor store, just like there's a church, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
So in my neighborhood, Uptown Washington Heights, almost every block, you got maybe 3 out of 5 floors that got crack houses on it. So his building, they had a raid.
Yeah.
He was a good kid going to school to be an attorney. He got swept in the raid, and they hit him with a charge, which killed his opportunity to become an attorney.
What?
And he said, "Okay, y'all sure? Now I'm going to be a kingpin." He became one of the biggest drug dealers in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Really?
Yep, because they put a false charge on him. He was trying to be a good guy.
Yeah. Now,
See,
look, I'm not gonna hold like this is a podcast, and I don't really, but I was at the point where what else do we do? Here I am, a regular guy getting robbed for a cell phone
right?
in front of my own home, right?
Isn't that crazy?
And they shoot me. So now I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, if I got shot for nothing, I might as well do something.
Right.
Right? And that time sitting at home healing, you start asking yourself a lot of things. And at that time, DC was making a good transition into legalizing weed and doing pop-ups and things like that. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. I was making a lot of money doing that as opposed to any rapping ever, right?
Right.
But one thing that happened is you get bored in being a position in demand, right? And I was one of those people that got bored sitting and waiting for people to make my day complete. I'm like one of those people that got things to do.
Right.
So I'm sitting around friends and I'm like talking, and it's like, yo, well, what do you do? I'm like, hey, y'all should hear some of my stuff I got on YouTube, And they're like, wait a minute, you do not got stuff on YouTube. And at that time, I had my 2K video, and some other small stuff that I put on that there. And they were like, yo, you really might want to get back to rapping.
It's all good though. It's all good, man. Sometimes we need perspective, man. We need perspective. We go through things and we take we look at things through a different lens, and
we have to sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like we
absolutely.
If we live every day off of our own perceptions, who know how we be?
Right. True that.
And like I tell a lot of people that don't work with other producers, don't work with other songwriters, don't work with other artists, don't get into other people's studios. I say you do yourself a total disservice working by yourself on everything.
You're right, because you could be good, but imagine how much better you can become by learning from others or being exposed to different sounds, different beats, different perspectives, not following the rules on a different level. Absolutely.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of artists flat out just quit when they walked into Elements and had to work with other artists. I've seen artists flat out crash in studio sessions with other artists.
Yeah, I can believe it.
So many artists don't understand a lot of things when it comes to, and they chalk a lot of it up to their process or how they do things, But I mean, come on, let's just be real. This, like we said, is a job.
Yeah.
And some people just are not able to do jobs.
Yeah, and then you got to sometimes sometimes you can be your best friend, and sometimes you can be your worst enemy too.
Yeah.
And simply put, everything is not going to always go your way. Even if you put the best CD together, now when it's time to distribute it, if the distributor says something opposing to what you want to do, you have to take that in consideration, because if you can't do what the distributor does, then it's not about your process. It's about the process that's in place. Either you honor it or you don't get the same results.
Yeah.
We have to learn that about ourselves. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I think my stuff is really tight, and then when I walk away and come back to it, I'm like, oh snap,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
that ain't like it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
yeah. Man, like what do you compare it up against though when you say that's not what it's supposed to be?
Honestly, to be honest with myself, I kind of like remove myself from the process and say, well, okay, is the timing right? Okay, is that your best vocal recording? And I'm critical. I in one of my books I write about what's called critical in-depth analysis. In fact, the book is right here. It's called The Line by Design, one of my books, right? And
That's
in,
tight.
and in the book I talk about we have to understand. I said I'm a coach. I'm not against coaches, but you don't always need a coach to get yourself on track. Sometimes what you need is critical, in-depth analysis. And all that is basically self-inventory. If
Yeah.
you can be honest with yourself, you can see where you turn right and you should have turned left, or where you were running and you should have stood still. So, I don't always base my music on other songs or sounds. Sometimes I just base it on honesty. You were rushing to get this done. You was hyped. You was amped. It felt good. You sounded good. The music was coming together, but it still needs to be re-recorded again. The drums
Yeah.
are not right, or whatever it is.
See, like that's why I'm glad that I was a songwriter first, right? And I worked for artists that were on what we call deadlines. So it always taught me to always be writing something super fresh and always be prepared to drop something at a certain time frame. You know,
Mm,
so like me, I'm no longer working against other artists as so much as I'm working against the quarter.
right.
You know, um,
I found that my best songs come out basically when I do one or two things. Either I work on a particular song. Maybe I remember everybody knows you and I should be one, and that's the staccato part. I had to
yeah, I
do
just
that in
shared that earlier.
harmony. It took me about a month, and not that it took me a month, but I respected the process so much, and I respected the song because I'm hearing percussions and bass and drums and guitar and strings, and it's working. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah,
this shit is good.
yeah,
So it made me want to stay in the pocket with the song until the song was ready. And the same thing with the other songs is sometimes you have to record a song two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine,
yeah.
12, 13 times before it's really right. And who wants to do that? Nobody. But it's necessary.
Now, see, that's that R&B stuff, right? Because, and that's why R&B artists were the first ones to start having record deals before rappers, right? And honestly, that's another reason why rappers had to prove their sales in the studio. It wasn't the fact about artists being able to kill songs, but going in there and rapping one take wasn't being able to get enough money drawn out of your hourly rates. So it
Mm,
was like, damn, they going and spitting these records in one take. Now we need 5 or 10 records so they can be in the studio all day so we can get our bread. You know what I'm saying? Like
right, right,
that's
right.
how they charge them. The R&B cats, you know how long it used to take them to record one song? Then they'd be like, all right, we'll come in, we'll do the harmonies tomorrow. We'll come in next week and we'll take care of the back layers. Don't worry, we're gonna have the band come in and do that part. Then they come in and looking at their check and they're like, where's my check? They're like, you had the band come in and we had to pay the boys. And
Right,
we had to
right,
pay the
right.
writers and everything. So like R&B artists made sure everybody ate for a very long time. You put them on tour, you know it was gonna be a whole band that had to go to. So everybody was gonna eat.
No doubt, no
Opposites
doubt.
eat.
It's
I
all
feel
good,
like
man.
my one of my pet peeves with rappers nowadays is that they don't take the time to re-record, or like it's not always one and done. Like I think there can still be perfect. You can still perfect your song.
Yeah, I mean,
Um, when
thank
I
your boy.
when I go into studios with a lot of rappers and they just punch in, a lot of rappers go in there unprepared. They don't even know the concept of the song. They just get in there and they punch in and they say a couple of lines and they like it's a hit.
Thank your
And
boy.
even with the feedback, they don't. A lot of artists don't go back in and fix the ad libs or anything. They just put it out and then put out thousands of songs. And it's
Mhm.
like, so when I hear you talk about like actually re-record, listening to it, taking the time to do that, I feel like some rappers should adopt that as well.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell.
because I know from as at this point in my life, sometimes I found that my we call it morning voice. Like in the morning, you don't want to do a show that you gotta sing in the morning because you got phlegm and all kind of stuff, and your voice isn't fluid. You
Mhm.
can't just hit high notes and low notes.
Yeah,
So you got to do it a couple of times to break all that crap out your way. Keep the windpipes, and your vocal cords clear. You know, clear all the mess out. Wake your vocals up. Get
yeah.
the agility going so you can move your notes around. So that's also a big benefit. So if you don't do that or don't know how to do that or when, most importantly, when to do that, you may be doing yourself and your fans a disservice.
I mean, like honestly, I tell every artist because I hear both of y'all, but I tell every artist now we're in a new world. You know your fans, right? And you, every artist is amped off whatever record is being told to them is the best one, and however they felt when they recorded that record. Now, my process with recording records, I always start with one that's gonna start my album. You know what I'm saying? And once I start with that one record, then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to start working on my album. I could record 10 records before I record that one record that makes me, okay, I'm ready to start working on my album, right? So now I've probably accumulated like 20 tracks, and this one record is now the thesis of my album and the mind frame of where I want to go. Now I'm working on a whole nother 15 albums, that's records for that, you know what I'm saying, to fill that album. But that probably takes what, a month, 2 months, 3 months to finish all these songs, 15 songs. Then we start thinking about it. I'm listening to nothing but myself, you know, nothing but this new project, and see how it comes together. Right. So by the time album comes out, I'm already chopping, dropping between 30, 40 songs. Like, so a lot of the songs that are bad or that are mishaps in them, they never make it. They never end up ever getting finished. So then you end up with this. That's how artists end up with those unreleased albums and those unreleased records and those
Or you can fix them up later,
countries.
or let somebody else record it.
Yeah, that a lot of times it's just vault stuff, you
Yep.
know. But come on, a lot of these artists nowadays, this is not a job to them, right? This is a way to the job. So
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
we talk as artists running an indie label, running ourselves independently as a business, right?
Right.
Because that's what people don't understand. Independent means that you're running yourself independently as a business. A lot of these artists today are chasing the record deal.
Yeah, and I think honestly, a lot of people, this is like, okay, just like there's a lot of people that can sing, right? If you can hold a note, okay, somebody say you can sing. Yeah, maybe you can, but it really may not be your thing. You may not be passionate about it. And the point I'm making is that for a lot of rappers, I think they are doing it because it's trendy or because
Yeah.
it's a fad and they think it's quick money and they like the lifestyle. I smoke anyway, so yo, let's fire up, let's do our thing, let's
Yeah,
go in the studio and get with it. Okay, because you know how to flow doesn't mean you have flow. Put it like that.
yeah. Let me tell y'all this funny analogy that I have, right? The music platforms have become the new gyms, like not gems GEM, gems GYMs, where
Okay.
all the used to be like Mike kids, that's like Mike Jordan, are
Right.
now open mic kids, no longer trying to play basketball, but now rapping at open mics. So that is a bar, you know, like Mike kids to open mic kids. All right. However, don't worry about that. I'll save that for another time. but with that new transition and these social media platforms have created this thing where, remember when we used to go to the basketball court and there was always that one guy that would be running and dunking and never passed the ball. He just thought he was the shit. And
Oh,
everyone's like, he's
yeah.
really like that. He should be in the NBA. And I used to always be that guy who would never be getting the ball passed to me. And they would say he would be in the NBA. And I say, he ain't going to never be in the NBA because you got to pass the damn ball. You know, like they
What's
don't
his name?
understand.
What's the dude? Harden.
James Harden.
But yeah,
Listen,
early James Harden.
look, hey, James Harden down in the assist leader. He understands the game. Like that's how you get in the game. People don't care if you can ball. People don't care if your music is like that. Can you play in the system? And unfortunately, we know if you can play in the system when we put you on a team.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, y'all don't understand when that team is created, but that team is created the minute that you start putting your music on the platforms and you start battling it up against what we call your local city. I mean, you
Or
already on
even
the
if you're in
team
a
now.
and think about it, even if you're doing a show, okay, there's 5 artists. Somebody's got to open up, somebody's going to close. Now, depending on the structure of the show, doesn't really matter. It's still a team effort. Just
Yeah.
because you can't close now, are you gonna not put your best foot forward, or because you
Bro.
are closing, you think you'd all that in the bag of chips? You ain't gonna say, yo, give it up for the first few artists.
Yeah.
Are you gonna call them rappers? Are you gonna downgrade them on the low? That's still part of playing team.
Yeah.
Being professional in your
Yeah.
language and in the way you speak and carry yourself on stage, for the promoter, for the venue. All that's part of playing team, and people don't know
100%.
that.
You 100%. And the thing that I realized is this, Sir Charles. A lot of artists will sit around a showcase, and that showcase won't start until 12, 1 o'clock. And what I'm learning is, I used to think it was because the promoter was trifling. But usually, when I ask around, I'm trying to find somebody to start the show. No
Oh,
one wants to
Wants to
start the
go
show.
first.
No
Yeah.
right.
one wants to go first. And
And
like,
yeah.
go ahead. No, you go
Not
ahead.
gonna say there's probably ways of getting around that. If you imagine you got, let's say, 5 artists and 3 of them are A-type personalities or just ego, right? Full of ego. There's ways of getting around it by, for example, creating icebreakers, right? To make the whole audience as well as the participants relax and maybe like get over themselves, and or the structure of the show. Say, hey, everybody, we're gonna do things a little bit differently. What we're gonna do is each artist is gonna do a song, and then each artist will then from there break out and do their full set, whether it's a 2-song, 3-song set. And that way, you know what, you get a little love. You may not.
Hey, look, so Charles, what's crazy is you telling the promoters how to get their show popping, right? Let me tell y'all artists what I usually go with this. I say, that's what you waiting for? Shit, I'm ready. Hit me! It's my time now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what these artists are waiting for, who they're waiting for, or what they're waiting to see happen.
I'm the shiznick, and I need to be closing the show. And not look,
Yeah.
ain't enough people for me to start yet, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, I tell every open micer, every showcaser, opening the show is lame. I mean, closing the show is lame. If you're closing the show at an open mic or showcase, you're the worst. Listen, y'all. Open mics and showcase. I just said this. This is the new gym. This is now the new place where everyone is balling, right? So obviously, if no one is sitting there give me him, right? You're not getting picked. Right. And if you're the last one picked, and just like at the school, you're yuck. It's
Right.
like pick. Okay, give me Johnny. Come on, and Johnny, he's sitting there last. He like, come on, pick me. They look for anybody to run out the building to play. You know what I'm saying? Like now we are no longer in a world where the best are being asked to perform. This is no longer a flyer world, right? This is no longer someone in your hood sees your type and say, oh my God, let's plaster up all their posters everywhere because they need to be seen, right? They don't do that no more. Hell, listen, I'm sorry, y'all, but I'm cynical today. A share is the most easiest, freest thing a person can do. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I see most of my friends will have reshared, hit that little triangle button on a baby crying or a murder or I don't give a shit anything other than my music video or my goddamn link that I just shared.
Right.
I mean, so the share button exists, but this is not what you're choosing to share. So we can't
I
keep.
need drama, man. I need something negative. I ain't trying to hit. I ain't
Of
trying to.
course. Of course. You get a few good. It's like this. You get a few good men in today's world, right? But we're no longer in that world where people want to brag about things. We're in the world where people want to be associated with things,
Yeah.
right? A person will comment on your page all day to let the world know I'm associated with them. I know them. We're cool. And if you're responding back, great. But they'll never share it because they don't want to assume they're the first to break you. Now, I said no
Or
one.
they haters in the closet.
Oh no, Sir Charles. It's don't look. Did I hate us? Did I hate us? Did I hate us? No one wants to break a record anymore.
Oh, okay.
Everyone is afraid of that. Why? Because somewhere along the line, someone told someone they got paid for breaking records.
Okay.
And in today's world, y'all, of full information, could you blame the sharer when he gets to scroll through an Instagram model's page and she's saying $50 a share, $100 to be on my story, and then he's like, "Well, why should I share it if there's $100 worth to share?" Now you can't even get your music shared by an Instagram model because we're already going to assume you pay her $100. Are you crazy?
Right.
I mean, we don't even assume people really like you anymore. We just assume you paid the $100.
Yeah.
And usually we're in a fast track world where that's usually what happens. People would rather pay the $100 for the perception as opposed to really find out if people really like them.
So it's crazy, man. You know, there's always something new popping up or some kind of a backwards trend or fad. And I'd be honest with you, if I wasn't in business, I wouldn't even be on social media because I'm not interested in a lot of that other stuff that they be doing out there, man. It's just, to me, it's just a waste of time. But we need, I guess, both elements. We need both sides of the coin. So,
Especially being independent.
yeah.
Right? Because I mean, like that's what I tell all the people that be like, I don't even like use social media. The major artists don't use social media like that. Blah blah blah. I'm like, well, you gotta understand those artists that don't, their labels do, and they take care of them. They make sure that stuff is taken care of.
Yep.
Like if no one is working for you on the back end, no one's working for you on the side, then what's happening in front?
Nothing working.
Nothing.
Yep.
It can't work.
Yep.
So I know you got some major plans in store for this new project here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm setting up a couple of. I got another interview this Thursday, so we're trying to get the word out, let people know that the whole Silk Sonic style of doing things is really in play, and come on, get on board because it's just about having a just life. So
now, like honestly, that era of music is always been prominent in our music and ain't never gonna go anywhere, right?
Yep.
We was talking about the most featured or sampled artists, and of course, it's all artists from the 60s and 70s.
Yep.
Like that sound is gonna be forever.
Yep.
Sampled and recreated.
Look, I got some of my friends, they trying to figure out, yo, man, I'm trying to learn how to make this trap beat. I'm like, I ain't trying to learn how to do trap. Man, if I do it, or if I learn it, if I use a trap beat, great. But you better believe it's going to be integrated with some soul, some R&B, and some straight up old school hip hop.
Mm-hmm. Now, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, I'm so tired of the idea of trap. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. People are in a real turn up mood because everything is so depressing, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't like the term being called trap, right? Because I'm trying to still figure out what is the trap. What is the, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is the trap? Like, what is the trap? But I'm talking about what is the trap that they're trying to catch us in. Always, a trap has always been known as something is about to happen. And when I look at trap music, I look at the evolution of music, right? I don't look at trap music and its content no different than what gangster rap was in the 80s, talking about the struggle and the life on the streets. You know, it's just what we talking about now when we getting all these genres. We're talking about the music,
Yeah.
and we're not. And the crazy part is, like I was telling a lot of what I was telling a lot of people on Facebook, these genres are getting a lot of artists confused and misappropriated, and content is getting totally disheveled and missed because of the genres labels, because of the beat that you're choosing to use.
You know what?
And
You know what? I think it would be a smart thing, and this for you in particular, since you write so much. You see what Lil Nas X did with country music, right?
yes,
I think you should do the fusion of another music style with hip hop. Go on the ground. Don't talk to nobody about it. Just decide what it's going to be. Come out with it. Success meets whatever that fusion is going to be,
well,
and see if it works for you. See if you can find something, and
why not?
introduce it to the world. Introduce it to the world versus letting somebody else do it and they catch on fire doing something. Because if
That
you remember Hidden Beach Records, they would take Angie, what's this chick now? Living My Life Like It's Golden. What's her name?
just
Jill
got
Scott.
Jill Scott. She used to be with Hidden Beach Records, and that label had classical, jazz, and they fused hip hop with classical and jazz. And that joint is fire. They took the verses out. All they had was the hook with classical
mm,
music and jazz, and they would have a jazz piano or classical flute with a hip hop beat.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, I'm
Look,
telling you.
you done got Tony started with the Nas X. I tell you what. But let me tell you one thing for certain, right? It's interesting that you mentioned him in that because you see how hard it is for him to get genre labeled, right? No label, no genre wants him. I mean, or can claim him. He's country, pop, rock, R&B, and pop R&B, right? So and pop rap. So he's been thrown in all these different genres because they don't know how to classify him. And is it ironic that, like I said, the fact that the artists that get thrown in genres are the artists that are having the products to sell? Because if you get thrown into the pop art genre, you get to blow up like a Drake. If you get thrown into the drill or trap genre, then the highest you may be able to get is maybe a 2 Chainz in them, maybe. You know, and that's not right because 2 Chainz maybe over his beats are trap beats, but he's telling you how to start a business and
So
get land.
the key is to be like Michael Jackson, MC Hammer, that true crossover appeal. You see, remember
Well,
everybody diss Hammer. Oh, you selling out, you whack. What are the major hip hop artists doing now? They're crossing over. What have they been doing for the past 10 to 20 years since Hammer faded out? They're crossing over. But when Hammer was doing it, he was whack. He's a sellout. But what are they doing? They're crossing over. They're doing commercials. They're doing movies. They're doing the exact same
look
thing.
at Drake crossing over. But
Yeah.
the reality of it is, y'all know that this ability is set up because most artists now are tied to producers.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
they're not tied to labels because they're indie now. Like they're moving like this is our in-house producer, and our in-house producer has this sound that made us pop, right? Those things like Michael Jackson going into the studio as a great songwriter was able to work with any musician he wanted.
Right.
So that's not what made Michael Jackson great was the fact that now I'm able to say today I can feel this way and get this vibe. Today I can create this vibe.
Right.
But and when now these artists are tied to a producer, it's walking to the studio and what you got for me, Metro? You know? And it's the same thing, but it's new. What you got for me, Zaytoven? You know, they can't walk into the studio tomorrow and work with a boom. And even if you are in that same network to where you got 3 different producers, they're all in the same network and to making each other the same amount of money where the sound is the same, the vibe is the same. They're not working. There's no more, like I said, there's no more networking no more. There's no more going out and finding out who the best people are. Why? Because now we turned verses into a battle. Right? We've created a straight up competition world, and because the industry refuses to just call us all artists, whether you're a rap artist or singing artist, it's just artists, just music, right? There should be one. There should be one chart for music, because music is now. Listen, if I can go on Spotify, I don't have to type in a gospel artist to find a gospel artist. I don't have to type in gospel to find a gospel artist. I just have to type in a gospel artist that I want to find. If I want to listen to from that gospel artist to a rap artist, I'm going over to a rap artist and listen to a rap song. If I want to go to from whatever genre I can. But only reason that it's genre appropriated is money based and to keep you labeled. And that's why fans are so watered down now to the point where it's like, oh, they all sound the same. All of the new people sound the same. Well, I've been arguing it for weeks, but I believe that the whole infrastructure of genres should be shut down completely.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I think genres play a part. And I mean, look, I can see the pros and cons of both. If you didn't have a genre and you just look for an artist, that would be one thing. But if you were doing a party, for example, I mean, yeah, I know what kind of music I want. But if someone wanted to have a playlist for a party, a genre will help them pick the right music for that age group or the theme of that party. But if it's about,
does it really though?
I think so, because
Because
if you got,
even a genre, hear me out on this, right? Even a genre is going to push to you whoever they're trending in that genre is.
right,
But they're cutting you off to any other artist that's touching that type of music, but not in that genre.
Mama, ain't trying to hear that Sixxcess.
I mean, listen, that I used to believe that, right? I used to believe that until one day I got in the car with my mom and I turned on the 93.9 and she said, "Oh, this is my song." I said, "What you know about this song, Mom?"
Right.
So like the thing about it is we understand this. If the radio has figured out a way to blend hip hop, R&B, and even on Sundays throwing a little bit of gospel,
yeah,
because it's called radio edited music at that point.
Yeah, I hear that too.
They got their stations like gospel station and things like that. But I mean, now you got the top gospel artist is Kanye.
Ain't that something? That's wild, man.
It's amazing.
Now, I have a question. So, as an artist, don't you classify what genre your music is a part of?
Now, this is
That's
funny
the thing.
compared to what I just said. To be honest with you, the way I write music and lyrics is based on my feeling. If today I feel lovey-dovey and I'm writing a romantic type song or a soulful song, that's what I'm writing. Tomorrow, it may sound like some kind of a rock thing. When I had a band.
No, my question is like, for instance, let's say you uploading your music to Apple or Spotify or just any radio, or you're submitting yourself for the billboards or BDS or whatever. When you submit that form or you submit that song, is there anywhere where you could say, "Hey, no, this song classifies for country, it classifies for rock, it classifies for 4 or
they ask
5
you who you
different
sound
genres."
like, what artist.
They definitely ask you to pick your genre that music is going in.
But how are you limited if you, the artist, have the opportunity to classify your music as you want it to be classified as?
I'm glad you asked that, right? Because this is how you are limited. This is how, because when Lil Nas X didn't appeal, he was able to lose credentials. The country was able to say this isn't country because it didn't follow these certain rules, right? So the thing about it is, if you are a rap artist and you make a song and you say, "I want this," I feel like this is a pop song. At the end of the day, when that thing goes through coding and it goes through charting and it has to go through the charts and they listen to it, they're going to start to nitpick it at those points. Not what you say, because even though you come in and say, "This is a rap song," if you're on that thing singing, they're going to say, "Hey, this is not a rap song. This is a melodic R&B song or melodic pop song."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like when you go and look at your song on these charts, you could be looking at the rap charts and you're not going to get there. You may be on the melodic charts or you may be on the R&B charts because
There's
it's
a lot
what
of truth to
they
that
want
because
you.
honestly, I've heard a lot of country songs that are soulful like a mug. I'm honestly, I know it's country, but because one, it's telling a story. Two, it may be a sad or romantic story. And three, the way the melody flows in the song, even if they get twanging guitars and not, it's
Yeah.
just very soulful. So there's some truth to that too. Yeah, I
But
feel you
let's
with
let's
that.
let's talk about the most cynical part of it all, though, because I'm feeling cynical today, right? Let's talk about the most cynical part of it all.
Cynical success.
Yeah, cynical success. It limits the artist in the most major way because if I give to you 20 rap songs, you as a fan now are saying he's a rapper. But then today I feeling like dropping a rock song or R&B song. Now these genres, I put this song. I have to say that I dropped a rock song today. And all my fans who listen to me in my rap categories, because it's categorized by rap, when they are looking, it's not going to say a new rap song has dropped. You know, it's going to be a new rock song has dropped. Then if my fans are not into the rock category, they'll never see this new rock song unless I go ham on it. You
Right.
know, and unless they're in that genre's field, they won't be able to possibly enjoy that song on the radio one day because it's been classified as a rock song now. You know, and
I
they
got you.
listen to rap stations. So
I
I
got
have
you.
to limit myself or think about these things as an artist when it comes time to making new music in the future. Because dang, I have to now
Yeah,
be this.
I think your fans will find your music regardless. That's just like that.
They will. They
That
will.
what was it? The Jay Z and Lincoln Park.
Oh, okay.
Numb.
Yes.
Like,
But that had to feature on Jay-Z's album first.
see, but is that classified as a rock song or a rap song?
It's
Like that.
classified. That's classified as a rap song because like it's
Because it's
not
on Jay Z's album first.
Okay.
and like it's also another it's a couple of other elements that they did in that as far as looping the looping and sampling that makes that a rap song. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not about just how things are done. A rap song, a rock song doesn't have loops and things like that and samples. It doesn't. It's just live instruments, whatever the case may be, and the content is what. So if you get on a song and a rock song usually has to be a rock and roll, something like that. You know, talk about rock and roll. It can't be on a joint talking about some real life stories, right? Because these categories have rules. It's like if you are a rapper, you have to have a certain amount of stanzas and a certain amount of way you have to deliver it and a certain story you have to tell. Because once you go into adding melodies to it, that song now you start bending it to where now are you a rapper or are you a singer? You
So
know,
you can create a new. I know you said genre less. We should be, but you can create your own genres. Call it rap fusion. Well, what's rap fusion? It's
that
rap any other music genre that you choose.
yeah, and like that's the thing. Like that's what they're trying to do when you talk about trap
Okay.
rap,
Okay.
drill rap,
Mumble rap.
mumble rap, what was that? Even with hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Like even with hip hop, pop rap, pop R&B, things like that. Because, like I said, when you stop, it's easier to say Michael Jackson is the king of pop,
Okay.
right? But if someone is challenging that theory of king of pop, instead of making another king of pop, you can say he's the king of pop rap.
Yep. You could definitely. Yeah. Or Prince of Pop or something. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No doubt.
so then now when you get another artist that's challenging that challenge in another sound, he'll never be able to be the top. You'll say, "Oh no, you're the best drill rapper." So you're the king of drill rap,
Right.
right? So they always keep you chasing not the artistry of it, but the business side of it, the genre of it.
Got you.
Because at the end of the day, the minute that you switch away, like Jezabel said, now you have to be dependent on just your fans, right? That's all on your fans and that your fans have to be able to accept that because, like we already addressed on the show earlier, once you put on a uniform, These are not really your fans, right? They love you, but they love your engine, right? It's like everyone that drives a Benz. Yes, you like the Benz, but it's what the Benz provide inside.
Right.
You know, that
All
no,
those features, no doubt.
yeah, all those features that people provide, right? So I mean, like, if I thought that I would get the same experience in a Fiat, I would buy that over a Benz if I, so like
Yeah,
whatever the case
yeah.
may be, or a Honda Accord. If I thought my Corolla was gonna be as good as the Benz, then there wouldn't even be a dang on thing, right?
No
So,
doubt.
so when they doing this, when they all look at you and they out the jungle, you say, "Hey, look, now I'm no longer in this uniform." Now you're asking the machine's fans, right? You're asking their fans to walk with you in celerity when this machine has already told them what they like. They
Gotcha.
like you as a rapper.
Right.
I mean, that's why it's hard for us to accept Kanye as the number one gospel artist in the world.
Heck no, no doubt.
Like we we get scared and worried when we start thinking about all of those things, right? Like, wait a minute, like artists are now in full blown control. So
That's
what's
a good
the
thing. It's like the NBA, right? They running the show.
yeah? Look, the NBA is a prime example of sports. Have when the athletes have learned how to run it in the system,
What it called? The
right?
lunatics have taken over, man.
Yeah, look, that's just saying. It all started with that Clippers dude, the Clippers owner,
Oh
talking
yeah, yeah,
wild.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but now they all got smart. Of course, we can't own the team, but wait a minute, no one comes to see the team anymore. And we honestly are realizing that with the way that fans will jump with the player. They
Oh, no
will,
doubt, no
they
doubt.
will. Hey, I'm a Cleveland fan now. I'm a Laker fan now. I'm a Heat fan now.
Better be selling some jerseys.
I mean, they're gonna go wherever the star goes.
Yep.
Yeah, but listen, let me just say this, man. First and foremost, and I know I thank y'all for letting me on the platform, but I want to acknowledge you guys again because it's been a great time, man. I mean, I could talk music in my sleep.
Yeah, yeah,
Serious, man.
me
My
too.
music, your music, music in general. Do you play an instrument, by the way?
I actually do play a few instruments. Yes.
See what I'm saying? It would never the never ending story, you know.
Yeah,
Cynical
yeah,
success,
yeah.
cynical success survives all
Right.
situations.
Yes. Like I play drums, guitar, keyboard,
Nice.
French horn. Uh, yeah, I do. I play some instruments, but I don't really be, bragging too tough or doing too much like that. Cause now, like, I was one of those kids that ducked band and ducked music my whole life, you know. So, and now full circle here I am as a grown man. If I would have actually just went in with it instead of like taking those few years to pursue the NFL, who knows what would be?
Right,
Who
right.
knows what would be? So, Sir Charles, of
Yeah,
course,
man.
we got the Just Life Project.
Yes.
Tell them where to find you, like all those cool places and stuff like that. The
Any
socials.
day now, folks, the project, along with the other previous projects I showed you, will be available on all platforms. Talking about Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon Music, the whole shebang. But also, if you want to get a jump start on it, I would definitely appreciate your support. Go to sircharlescarymusic.com. There's a website there with the videos, website that has the music, a little background on myself and how long I've been involved in music, and everything plain for you to browse through and just take a closer look at what I'm all about and what the music is
Yeah.
all about. And once again, Jezabel, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for keeping him on track. And
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And
Now before you go, I do have a question for you. What is your favorite track on your project?
oh man, it's like music. That's like my children, man. It's like I don't
You
want
gotta
my
pick
kids to.
one.
I don't want my kids to know I like one more than the other. But
hey, one of them badass kids, go out do it like that.
well, I think it's two. There's two. One is called In the Morning, which already came out, but the other one is I Miss You. And what I like about it is the music, um, the way I was able to write the music and conduct the music. You know, I think the music is really so. I don't know if eclectic is a good word, but it's just like
I
a
like that
great
word.
energy.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good energy. So, you know,
In
look
the
for.
morning is that video is on YouTube, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
All
y'all
the
go check
videos
that
are
out.
on YouTube.
Go check that out definitely.
And
Well,
check
sir,
me out on all the social media platforms. Everything / Sir Charles Cary. YouTube, what is it? LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything / Sir Charles Cary. And once again, the music is on its own site, separate from the speaking stuff, Sir Charles Cary Music.com.
yeah.
Yeah, nice, 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 nice.
So much for coming on.
I'm not gonna hold you, man. Like this is a great interview today, man. Like,
Oh man, appreciate it. Thanks for having me again. Yeah.
like everybody already know y'all need to be hitting that like and subscribe button down at the
Like
bottom.
and subscribe.
Jezabel, what you got coming up this week? I know you got something lit.
Definitely back on the Fridays this time, you guys. I'm just gonna get y'all hit with the music news, DMV music, what's going on in these streets. Y'all already know how I go, so y'all make sure to tune in at 5 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah, and y'all already
Is
know.
that anything like the DMV rumor report or something? Like, you know,
Yes, yes. I'm
Yeah,
not.
It's Friday. Like, I don't even be. I'll tell you what. We Friday that went viral, so you know
nice.
how that go.
Nice.
No, to answer my man Tony question, I have never played a kazoo except for at a birthday party.
Kazoos is fly though.
No, I definitely don't know anything about playing a kazoo, except those little toys that come into the birthday party packs. But I will not be doing those, you know. But y'all do know, y'all can catch me tomorrow morning if you don't know on our radio, Hip Hop 95. And we do got the tour starting in February, so
Yes,
that's gonna be
sir.
lit. All right, and we got some shows, we got some cities, so y'all know to keep coming up with that. We're gonna keep it locked, keep it loaded. We're gonna tell y'all all about that crap. That, yes, sir. Y'all know where to follow me at already. At this time, y'all already know. If you don't know, y'all ashes should be flicked off, roaches should be thrown in the ashtray, and you should be getting ready to roll up another one. Because I know I am. And we out.
Bye,
Peace.
y'all. Good night, y'all.